John Homeston, a retired CIA agent, has admitted on national television that hip-hop was a psyop invented by the CIA in the 1980s, and the agency has directed and financed household names, including NWA, Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, and Kanye West. The government at the time spent big money on this covert operation designed to corrupt the American youth to nihilist anti-establishment and anti-American ideologies, and sow division in America. He explained in a half-hour interview broadcast on national television. Famous songs of the iconic hip-hop outfit NWA were even scripted by a team of war propagandists and psychologists of the CIA. Nihilist and anti-establishment lyrics were intended to unleash a wave of cynicism towards authorities, glamorize the use of narcotics, and entice the youth with revolutionary, counter-establishment ideas. The retired CIA agent claims that social engineering PSYOP was extremely successful, particularly with left-leaning young Americans who, according to Homeston, have been completely brainwashed with anti-American messaging. We understood at the time that music was a powerful means of propaganda to reach the youth, explained the 77-year-old man. Our mission was to use teenage angst to our advantage and turn Generation X into a decadent, pro-drug and anti-establishment culture that would create uprisings and further division within society. We even infiltrated mainstream radio to promote their music and reach millions of people every day, he admitted, visibly proud of the accomplishment. For many of us in the CIA, infiltrating the 1980s hip-hop scene was one of the CIA's most successful experiments of propaganda to date, he acknowledged during the interview. The retired CIA agent, who was granted a Russian residence permit in 2011, also claimed Leah Cohen, commonly known as the tall Israeli who runs hip-hop, is a CIA asset, as are many of the household name artists he signed and promoted. When it comes to engineering culture, no one touches Leah Cohen, Homeston admitted. The music industry is crawling with household names who are actually CIA assets, according to Homeston. Hip-hop artists signed and promoted by Cohen include Slick Rick, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, EPMD, Stratosonic, De La Soul, and A Tribe Called Quest. Cohen ended up promoting rappers such as Jay-Z and Kanye West, and more recently brought Migos and Young Thug to prominence. Some of these artists were tools of the CIA, others fully signed up assets, according to Homeston, who cited Jay-Z, who openly promotes his satanic beliefs, and the first black billionaire, Dr. Dre, as CIA assets who are untouchable, and who have been both handsomely rewarded by the elites. And John Homeston warns that the CIA haven't stopped using hip-hop to manipulate America, but they have adjusted their goals. In the 80s, it was about division. Now it's about emasculation of males in society. The insidious plot to turn our children into proud transsexuals didn't happen overnight. The elites have been slowly working on eroding social norms for decades, and forcing famous black men to normalize the sight of men in dresses was part of the agenda. A music industry executive who was present at the first meeting between CIA and music industry executives has written a confessional letter detailing exactly what went down on that fateful day. Some experts openly admit that the CIA's promotion of hip-hop nihilism, including the narcotics culture surrounding the scene, pushed United States President Richard Nixon into the war on drugs, a globalist campaign of drug prohibition based on endless foreign military intervention. The chaos we caused in America helped the government justify overseas wars of plunder to Middle America. The country wouldn't be where it is today without hip-hop. Of course, the CIA was also responsible for flooding the streets with vast quantities of crack cocaine in the same period. Investigative journalist Gary Webb exposed the story of the decade before the mainstream media went to work on behalf of the elites and tried to distract the masses from the scandal.
My name is Gary Webb. I am an investigative journalist. I've been an investigative journalist for about 25 years for daily newspapers. And in 1996, I wrote a series of stories entitled Dark Alliance, which was about CIA involvement in drug trafficking. What my story showed was that the cocaine that was being sold in those neighborhoods was coming from mainly one source, and this one source was being used to finance a guerrilla war in Central America.
But the elites were not satisfied with merely corrupting America's youth, sowing division in society and flooding the streets with crack cocaine. They also wanted to enrich themselves further, while separating families and driving much of the country into grinding poverty. The CIA worked in tandem with the music industry elite to create a funnel in which young people would be indoctrinated with brainwashing gangster rap music, introduced to a life of crime, and then delivered to the highly profitable private prison system. In order to create this funnel, the CIA introduced music industry owners to the private prison industry. Once the funnel was in place, the system was a lock.
What if I told you that some of the biggest music companies are in cahoots with private prison owners? And that the rap music we listen to is not only meant to entertain, but to verbally and visually support criminal behaviors that funnel disenfranchised people into these private prisons? Lastly, what if I told you I have proof? In 2012, Core Civic, formerly known as Corrections Corporation of America, the biggest name in the private prison industry, contacted 48 states offering to buy their prisons. One requirement of eligibility for the deal was particularly strange: an assurance by the agency partner that the agency has sufficient inmate population to maintain a minimum 90% occupancy rate over the term of the contract. Wait, right? What? What kind of legal and ethical measures could be taken to ensure the maintenance of a 90% prison occupancy rate? Now let's work together to connect these things, because I'm sure you're a smart person. It won't be long. Let's do the work. In 2012, a mere 232 media executives were responsible for the intake of 277 million Americans, controlling all avenues necessary to manufacture any celebrity and spark any trend. Time Warner, as the owner of Warner Brothers Records, can not only sign an artist, but since they're also owners of Entertainment Weekly, they can also put an artist on the cover by next week. You think you choose what you listen to, but do you? Both BET and MTV belong to Viacom. Okay, now I know that's not news to some, but when the use of these media conglomerates is cross-checked with ownership of the biggest names in prison privatization, it's starting to get a little fishy. The largest holder in Core Civic, formerly Corrections Corp of America, is Vanguard Group Incorporated. Vanguard is the #1 largest holder in both Viacom and Time Warner. Vanguard is also the largest holder in the GEO Group, the second largest owner of private prisons in the U.S. The overlap in private prison / mass media ownership is disturbing. Let's make this clear. The people who own the media are the same people who own private prisons, the exact same people. They make money from getting so-and-so from the hood to glorify the life they live. And they don't care about the impact it has on others because money is the motive. Then when the music influences others in criminal behavior, they make money from all the impressionable low-income people of color that are expected to go inside their private prisons.
The global elite have been toying with humanity for centuries, but more and more people are taking the red pill and waking up to what's really happening in the world. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing their evil agenda and reporting on the real news that the mainstream media are determined to suppress.